The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
What's up, bees?
Hello.
Welcome to the Brit on Blast podcast, where we put everything and anything on blast.
From business to butt lifts, settle in for a wild ride, bees.
Yeah, I'm really excited. What's this week's roundup, Britt?
So this week we've got managing relationships as a workaholic for our business on blast segment, and for Brit Happens we have Adele's 30 album, Gaga and House of Gucci, Kim and Pete. What?
I know.
All of the things.
I know. And I want to talk about the AMAs a little bit too, because I am obsessed with music. It is a love language for me. So,
yes. And
I love Cardi B, and I know that's controversial. Come for me.
You get a car. You get a car.
Yeah. I'm lying. Nobody's getting a car. That was like the best line ever.
That was hilarious.
I loved it. How was your week?
Man, this week has been a doozy already.
Yep.
It's Tuesday?
Yep.
Question mark? Yeah. So much going on. So tonight we have our biggest, for BLFT, our biggest night of the month, ladies' night. You'll be there. Thank God.
Ooh, my favorite.
And then tomorrow, my husband and I are flying to Dallas for the Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to the Cowboys-Raiders game and then spending the rest of the weekend just kind of adventuring around. So I'm really excited about that. But like, needless to say, busy AF.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I also love Texas so much, and I'm low-key jealous because I would love to go back to Texas. I spent the majority of like 3 years, I was there every month. So I can't wait to give you, there's some really, really, really good spots that I'm going to send you.
Yeah.
Like you have to go into Deep Ellum. There's some breweries down in there that are like,
I've been
good.
there. Yeah.
And like whiskey bars. That's where I got the tattoo, the Astros tattoo that I had to get covered up. Yeah. Cause you know, they cheated and the Hyena cheated.
Right. So let's wait. Okay. Not yet.
Should we just jump? Do you want to jump into that?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's
so
go ahead.
This morning I woke up to a text message from Britt. Okay. So we're talking about relationships, right? And we've been really, after our first pod, we've been really like trying to be extremely prepared, and we want to provide you guys with the best possible content.
Yep.
And so we've been talking back and forth all week and just like really preparing ourselves. So this morning I wake up to a text message and she says she's going to refer to her exes as animal names.
Yeah.
I mean,
as animals. I think that like we can all understand and relate, and we know animals. And so I decided that if I have to do this, like, to be honest, I didn't really want to talk about my relationships because like, I don't know, it like is very vulnerable, but we're in the world of vulnerability now in my life. So here we go. I'm literally, my knee just started bouncing so hardcore just now. And I'm in squeaky
relationships are like, they make us who we are. So I'm going to talk about mine. You got to talk about yours.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So here we are. We're going to talk about relationships this week. I'm going to talk about my relationships. So in order to protect those people and to also like give you an idea of their personalities, I thought what a great idea to use animals. So the hyena, the reason I picked that name was because that person was very manipulative to me. And I always felt like he had a smile on his face all the time. And there was always behind the scenes, like a lot of putting me down and treating me poorly. I mean, it was not like both him and his family. They did so much for me, but it was always like in a way that they got something out of it from me.
Yeah.
And they always made me feel like I was so little. Like it was always like silly Britt, like with her fashion degree.
Yeah.
And,
her little teeny little business.
Yeah. But like meanwhile, I was like paying, and like supporting and creating an environment where like the hyena could go and get like a master's degree and all of these things. So
he sounds awful. So the hyena is very fitting.
We don't like the hyena so much.
Okay.
Like peace and prayers to you and yours, but also like you're the hyena. And then we have that just gave me so much anxiety to talk about that. Like I want to scratch myself. And then we have the puppy, great guy, super cute. Like, so not even cute. Like he was great. He was fun. He was sexy. It was a great time. Like we always were doing fun things. The man is a Peter Pan. Like he has to grow up and
he has to grow into those pods.
He's got
so much potential, just like not getting there yet.
Huge amounts of potential.
You're like, we're in the puppy stage. He chewed up my entire apartment, but he's so cute. Look at those eyes.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly. And then I am like, don't want to get like too deep into this because this is like a very, 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 very fresh thing, like so fresh. But I'm like talking to somebody right now. So we're going to call him the wolf because like the wolf keeps coming up in my.
Right. And wolves mean so much to you. We've already talked about that. And just, you've always been like attracted to them, and you have like a wolf tattoo on your arm.
Yeah. I have a wolf tattoo on my arm. Honestly, I picked the wolf because like I have this phrase on my phone that says like a wolf will never be a pet. And like he had written a poem about how like, so cool. Like how a wolf will never be a pet. So I was like, all right, the wolf can be it. Like in a healthy way. Yeah. So, which is true. Like and that's really what it comes down to with relationships is like, there are two people now that we've established the pets and they're not pets to be clear, but like, they're animal characters. I'm sure I haven't. What would my animal character be?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I have to think on that, but I started thinking like, what would John be? Because I'm married obviously. So I have one solid relationship. And I think he would be an eagle because he just soars real high.
And wise.
And just steady.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucks around.
Okay. He's an eagle.
But okay, I'm not going to call him the eagle.
No. Because
I'm just going to refer to him as John.
Because we know John. We don't need to protect John. He's doing great things.
Okay.
So basically, anyway, I mean, my biggest thing, and this is going to segue into our like relationship piece, is that relationships are between two people working towards the same goal. And I think that when you look at when you met people or when you have like met your exes or when you have created friendships with people and you look at those times in your life and then you're like, okay, what's happening with our relationship? Why is it so weird right now? I'd really challenge everybody to say like, okay, but when did I meet this person and what stage of my life was I in? Because when I met the hyena and the puppy, I was both of those times, like I was rage cage Britt. Like
party girl, fun, loving, easygoing, nothing matters.
Nothing matters. I'll drink you under the table, whole nine. So I think that that's like really important to consider as you're like going forward. And I think that, I don't know, I just think that like, let's jump into kind of, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So relationships, like you said, are two people working towards the same goal, but relationships take a ton of work. They take time, they take effort. And I was just thinking about it and going off last week's analogy that I used, like our energy is like a phone battery and there's only so much before we're at 10% and we need to plug it in and recharge. So I was thinking about it, like, let's say we give 70% of our battery to our business that day and then 10% to fitness or something like that. Yeah. That leaves us with 20%. And if we're giving the rest to relationships, there's not much time left for you.
Right.
So I think that there's slightly different expectations for different relationships in your life. And so, I mean, like my husband versus my family and friends, and we can get into that. They're like tiers.
Yeah.
So Britt, because this is in your wheelhouse, why the Automobile Museum?
I mean, for me, it's about the cars all day long. I love cars. I like old cars, new cars, all the things. For me, the fact that they have the DeLorean here and the Batmobile in the same room is like, it makes my heart happy. So that's why for me, but I think for like someone like us, like doing things with all of our friends, like 160 of our close friends could go to the theater.
In any movie that you want. They have so many things to offer. The space camp for your kids if you like need a little break or you want to look at the cars. Reno's just really lucky to have it. It's one of the biggest collections, I think, in the country, which is awesome.
It's so cool. And the fact that it's here in the biggest little city is like the coolest thing ever. So yeah, grab a bottle of tequila and come on into the theater.
Yes, Back to the Future.
Get all your friends, 160 of them, so the whole town of Reno.
So everyone you know.
And watch a movie.
Yep.
You can find tickets at the automuseum.org.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where you go get your tickets.
Perfect.
Fun day.
Okay, so I was saying like these relationships in our life are similar to tiers. And I don't mean that one is more important than the other, because to be holistically happy, I think that you need all three. Like your significant other, your family, your friends, they all bring so much value to your life, but it's really hard to manage. And it's hard to manage, I mean, not just if you're a business owner, in general. Like any job that you do. If you're a stay-at-home mom, it's hard to manage relationships. You just don't have time, right? Like your battery is dying. Our batteries are just dying all the time. And so just throughout my life, I've always just felt like I was letting people down. I have really, really bad ADD. Yeah. I mean, I know you do too.
Yeah, I get you.
So I look at a to-do list, I get completely overwhelmed and sometimes paralyzed.
Yeah.
And then like I think I have more time than I do. Yep. And then at the end of the day, when I'm like sitting down for dinner, I'm actually thinking of all these things I need to do. So I'm not being present.
Yep.
Do you feel me?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I feel like my relationship with John has helped me so much.
God, I love this so much, because I honestly and I know we're going to talk about, I really want to hear about your tier strategy, but again, like still super new, but we're going through a lot with my grandma right now and she's on hospice, and like, it's been so nice because the wolf has really been like reminding me as I'm there with her that like, just take that time and be present.
Right.
And then I started doing that in the rest of the areas of my life. And so I'm really excited to hear how you like use that within your tiers.
I think that sometimes, like your family is going to need more attention at different times.
Yeah.
And then your friends are going to need more attention, and then your significant other. And like, if they all three need the attention at once, that's going to definitely max you out. And maybe you need to draw back from your business a little bit. But like your family needs you right now. You guys are going through an acute, essentially, crisis. Like, you're going through a loss. And so you need to be there for your family. If that means that you can't be there for the wolf right now as much as you want to be, then that's how it is. But it's kind of like you only have so much. So you have to like channel it to where it's needed.
Yep.
To flow it where it's needed. But I mean, I have a few tips for how I manage my relationships now. John has, like I said, I just used to be like, I was letting everyone down, and that's a horrible feeling. And I would feel really guilty. You ever feel like that?
I feel guilty all the time. And what happens is like, and this happened a lot in the past, I would be somewhere with somebody and I would be doing something else, usually business related, or like, I think we can all relate to this in a big way. Social media rules my world. Like it literally runs my business. If I post or don't post on Instagram,
well, it's the lifeblood of our business. When Instagram was down, I was like, wow, I need to rethink my business because I am so heavily dependent on this app.
I make so much money off of Instagram. It's stupid. And it's like the second and so then I'm like, well, you didn't post it. So then I have guilt about not posting. So then it'll be the end of the day. I realize I didn't post, and I did it the other night. I was on the phone with the wolf. I don't know how many more fucking times he's going to come up, but I was on the phone and I'm literally like scrolling through Instagram, and I had to stop myself and be like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, be present, right?
Like, be on the phone with this person.
Right.
You don't need to be like looking at photos of other people who you don't even care about.
3 seconds to respond. You're like, yeah, that was, you know, because you're like trying to process what you're looking at the same time. Yeah, no, that's not good. Yeah. That's really not good. So just like what we were talking about, just channeling your energy. And I mean, I feel like kind of piggybacking off of last podcast when I said like, I feel like my self-worth was directly correlated to my productivity for the day. Mm-hmm. And John has completely shifted my mindset on that. He has like this inner peace about him. Yeah. This like underlying confidence and this chill factor that has kind of rubbed off on me. It's definitely a God thing because I've only met a handful of people who have it. Yeah. But he's taught me that it's okay to take Sundays off, to prioritize my relationships and to like set aside time. And so on Sundays, those are time. And it's so glorious because I have this peace of mind that all day I can look forward to our date night. We usually go to pizza or a movie or something. Stupid, but it's really fun.
Not stupid.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's just like our time to connect, just us, no one else around. Yeah. But obviously if my family needs me, then we can reschedule or whatever, you know, but yeah. So I think I have like a few tips. I don't know if we should get into them now.
Please give me the tips. Okay. I need them right now. I'm an emotional mess. Honestly, like I'm not going to lie. I gave myself a full anxiety attack even talking about the 3 characters because I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, it's
a lot.
Yeah. It's hard. And I mean,
And I'm in an intense time of my life right now. So like navigating that has been really weird. Like my grandmother just went on hospice. And so that's been like really intense
There's
for
a lot
us.
in lingo.
And it's holiday season. Like I can't stop. And that's the other thing is like, my grandmother wouldn't want me to stop. Like that. I saw her yesterday and I was like, Grandma, I gotta go. I gotta like box up these for the event tomorrow. And she's like, don't you dare stop working on your business. I'm like, great. I think you're on a lot of drugs, but thank you. No, I'm kidding.
No, she's still motivating you,
but she's right. She's
but
right.
You have been going through a lot. And I mean, most people are going through a lot throughout their day.
Truly, especially this time of year.
But when living at the same time, you're in this weird time. Is that where you are right now? Yeah.
I mean, I think the closing happened a little bit before. I mean, just to like give everybody a roundup. Basically like I got out of a relationship about 6 months ago and it ended. That was the puppy with him ghosting me. Like after a year of us being together, he just stopped speaking to me because I basically asked for support.
Just because all communication.
It was when my grandmother started getting sick and we had a lot of things going on within our family. And so I was like basically saying I needed support. And I finally stood up for myself. And that's where I come back to. And like, again, I really want to get to your tips, but that's where I come back to like, what are your goals? Like with this person in your relationship, like my best relationship in my life is with my best friend, Jess. And I think that with her, our goals are the same. So at the end of the day, she's constantly reminding me that like, we are meant for something better. And like, we want to do more for our community. Same for you. Like you provide a mirror to me to say like, okay, our goal is the same. Like we are working to support our community. We're working to make our customers feel really great about themselves and to provide a great service. And so when I look to you, I can say like, okay, this feels really healthy. This feels really strong. And I see Britton doing this. So I'm going to switch and adjust too. And you can support me in that way. The same thing goes for Jess. I've never had that from a man in my life. And so it's a little bit different for me. And I've always been alone. So my thought process, and I've always had to support people. And so my thought process is like, I didn't think there was space for me in that relationship to need support. And then when it hit me that I needed it regardless, that it wasn't going to matter, and I asked for it, he shut down.
Are you more comfortable being the person in the relationship providing the support, providing the empathy and right?
Yeah, because I think like a lot of people are always like, oh, you're so strong. I get that all the time. Like,
so you feel the need to be like the pillar of the relationship, let them break down around you, and you just provide all the support.
Well, and I don't allow myself to be emotional in a relationship, specifically with men, because I don't like to, I'm really challenging myself to do that. Like, I don't like to be vulnerable or to be emotional. So then I think what happens is like, at the 6 month to a year mark, all of a sudden I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm a human being and I have emotions and I need somebody to support me, or like, this is hard, or what always it ends up coming back to, you go through seasons in your life where, or at least I do.
Definitely.
Where I'm like, Rage Cage Brit is who that's what I call her. Rage Cage Brit. She like,
I like Rage Cage Brit.
She is a wild one. Like she can drink you under the table. She will dance all night long.
Love
like
that.
I am a partier, and
I feel that I can have my time.
I know. We can get down. But I mean, at the end of the day, what ends up happening is I don't have the support that I need from the person in the relationship. That happened with both the hyena and the puppy.
Well, if you put up a front for so long, they don't think that you need it. And so then 6 months to a year later, when you need it, they're like, wait, this is too much energy.
Wait, this is not what I signed up for.
Right.
And that was really, I think the puppy's feeling was like, this isn't what I signed up for. Like, you were fun and like adventurous and all of these things. And I am those things.
Yeah.
But I'm also like a dynamic person.
You're a human.
And I'm a human. And like, I have these other things as well.
Right.
So I think that, and it's important. And I think that this is a thing that we lack overall, is it's important for both people to take responsibility for their role in the relationship. I don't think that ghosting and then me finding the puppy on Hinge dating.
Oh my God, that's awful.
When I didn't know the relationship was over. Like, I think that is definitely like
so immature.
Yeah. I mean, it truly is the Olivia Rodrigo, like song of like traitor. Like you didn't cheat, but like, did you cheat? But like, are we sure? Like whatever way it ended up being, like you ended up being a traitor to our relationship. Like it is what it is. And so I think that with that whole situation, and we'll wrap this up because I don't want to talk about this anymore, but like, I think the big thing there is that that ended very weirdly. And so it took me, because I didn't have any closure. Like I didn't even know the relationship was over. It took me like a minute to get over that.
Well, and so during this whole time that you're going through all this, like that's sucking your energy and you're not able to give it to other relationships in your life
Yeah.
or your business.
Right.
Like that's a lot. What you just described,
Right.
that's heavy. That's a heavy load.
And mind you, like, and this is what my dad said, and I love my dad. So a guy has to live up to that. Well, and my dad's been through a lot. You know what I mean? Like he's been through a lot and he's constantly adjusted to be the best he can be for my family. And we've been through a lot as a family. And I think that, and I really, I think that the big thing, and now I'm losing my train of thought because
That's okay. We'll come back and we'll kind of retouch on this, and then we'll give some tips on how to manage your relationships.
I love that. Okay, cool. So we had to take a second because this gives me a panic attack. I just want to be very vulnerable and honest with everybody that like talking about my relationships makes me want to curl into a ball and like sit in the corner.
You're doing great. It's hard.
Yeah,
and it's hard to relive it. You're like, oh, that actually happened.
It is.
And that hurt.
Yeah. So bear with me because I am just a human and I am new to emotions and vulnerability.
Welcome.
So, yeah. So welcome to the world.
You're like a puddle on the ground right now.
I have a friend and he's like, you're experiencing things we all learned in college, but you're like 31. And I'm like, I know, because I just like blacked out in my 20s. I was like, just survive.
Just putting up a huge front.
Yeah. But what I was trying to say is that my dad, who's such an incredible human, he's owned his own businesses and everything like that. His big thing when I was like really trying to figure out what my next moves were with the puppy was, look how much you've done without him. Why would you go back? And my dad was like, which is 100% true. And I think it's different when you're like in the moment and you're thinking, okay, I lost all this stuff. And you always like romanticize the good things that happened.
Right.
And
but
I think
you're like knee deep in it. So it's hard to see from the outside. And your dad just saw you without him taking these huge strides.
Right. And I'm such a black and white person, or I have been in the past. And so I think the big thing for me was that like the hyena was clearly bad, like clearly bad, like bad.
Evil.
And whereas the puppy was not bad, he's just broken. He's a Peter Pan. And so I was like, well, I'll help him. Like I'll make him better. No. We don't live that life anymore. Like, and I think this is a big thing that you need to think about. And this goes back to your battery. I don't have time to fix you. I am not your therapist. I am your significant other, and I'm here to be a partner with you and have a 50-50 relationship.
Like run side by side, not in front of me and not behind me.
Right. And so as like in the last 6 months, I've been like really, really working hard on my business, which it's been doing really fantastic. I've had all of these incredible relationships, like the one I have with Britton, my best
look
friend.
better than ever.
Thank you.
You just look healthy. You're so beautiful. And I'm sure your dad sees the whole picture.
Right.
Without the puppy.
I don't drink as much. I'm not partying as much. And I think that those are things that you really have to look at. Like I'm very comfortable with myself now.
Kind of boring, Britt.
Honestly, I can be very boring now. I'm like, last night I went to bed at 9. So
wow, that's good.
Congrats to me.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I think that then you think about when you meet people and like, I don't want to jump the gun on anything, but you know, I met the wolf when I had my shit together. And I think that that's important to think about too. And that's where I wanted to talk about, think about who you were when you met this person and if they can align to your goals, because if they can't, then you need to reconsider how much effort you're putting into the relationship.
Yeah.
Or and if you're going to continue forward. So give me your tips, because now that I've explained that I'm emotionally unstable, which
you're
we've
not
established.
Emotionally unstable. You're finally loving yourself and you're meeting someone who at the right time, when you love yourself enough that you're able to love someone else at the same time, right? Yeah. You're not completely drained.
Let's not use that word though.
Well, okay. like, sorry.
I mean, like,
okay, love yourself like him.
I love myself.
And you kind of like him.
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay. Okay, so.
I'm happy, Britton. I'm happy. Okay. Whatever that means.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, just going back to what your dad was saying, like you were taking huge strides in your business because you're able to put more energy towards that and more energy into yourself, and it pays off, right? So I have a few tips on managing relationships because, like I said, I felt like I was always letting people down around me, or always like playing catch up. Like, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you. Yep. So some things that I have found that have helped me is to set aside a date and time for people in your life. Yeah. So schedule it into your day. That way you'll know to save some of your battery energy. You'll be able to be prepared and plan, and you'll be able to be present when you're with them. you're not going to be doing something else. If you have it scheduled, you'll know, okay, from 6 to 7, I'm going to dinner with my friend, or from 7 to 8, I'm going to hang out with my husband, like, and we're just going to talk and have a conversation, right?
Calendar blocking is huge.
Yeah, exactly. So schedule the time out.
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but like make time for people.
I mean, I'll post my calendar. I'm happy to do that. Of like, I now schedule out my calendar and like didn't realize the presence that is important within those blocks. But I've been doing that for a long time because I'm like, these things won't get done if I don't do them. And like, I still like Sundays are for football. Yeah. I schedule that into the calendar.
Good. So that you know, and you have the peace of mind that you're not supposed to be doing anything else. Yeah. You're supposed to be watching football and relaxing.
Yep.
If you can't be there in person, schedule time to call your friends, check in, right? Like I do it when I'm warming up on the treadmill and I'm walking, or when I'm driving. Just check in, get updated on their life.
Yep.
Let them know that you love them and care about them. Yep. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be there in person.
That is my absolute favorite. And I will say too, that this is another thing that I think that like when you're, because I think of like Natalie Mills, and she owns Moonlight Lace, and she'll call me on her drives.
Yes, I love her drive because she like is living at a ranch far away, but she's
also goals. I want to live on a ranch far away.
I know, it's amazing, far away,
far away, like 30 minutes from here.
Yeah.
But I think that that's the key thing is like, and then if I don't pick up, she's not offended.
No,
she'll just shoot me a text and be like, yo, I was in the car, or I'll be like, hey, I'm in the middle of something.
But what I love about her too is if you call her back and she's not driving, she doesn't answer because she's probably having dinner with her family.
Right.
Which I love.
Just boundaries.
Because, yes, exactly. Just because someone like emails you or texts you or calls you, it's urgent for them. It doesn't have to be urgent for you.
I love that.
Right? So it's okay not to text back right away.
Right.
Another tip, show up for the big things in your family and friends' lives.
Yep.
Show up. Be there, be present. If it's a big deal to your friend and you know that, show up, be there for them.
Yep.
Regardless of how you're feeling, you know, these are life moments, huge life moments in their life, be there.
It's huge. That is like the biggest. And I am so glad you said that because honestly, like imagine like missing your friend's like wedding.
Yeah.
Like you just wouldn't do like, I don't know.
Or
like,
even if you're there, but you're not present, like be there for that person.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on in your life. I mean, you have your grandma, you have all these things, but be there for your friend.
Right.
Be present, shelf what you have going on.
Get off your
phone.
phone.
I'm not saying being fake.
No.
Just put yourself in her shoes and, you know, be there. And I mean, for your significant other too.
So everybody's problems are relative. And I love this phrase so much. And it was actually the Hyena who told it to me. And I remember when he told it to me, I was like, yeah, but you're like a white man living in a rich neighborhood. You grew up in the same house. Like you have no idea what you're talking about. And that was quite frankly insensitive of me at the time. Mm-hmm. But in hindsight, I was like, I didn't grow up in the same house. I was in a different house every 2 years. Like we had such, and at the time my brother was being diagnosed. I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like you just have no idea. But that is unfair because to him, his experiences seemed so big. Yeah. And my experiences also seemed really big.
Right.
And in the grand scheme, maybe if you're an outsider looking in, my problems maybe were bigger, but that doesn't mean he doesn't feel what he feels. And so I love that going into like, you know, maybe John, the biggest thing in the world for him is that you guys watch Yellowstone. I highly doubt that because he's like very incredible human being. He would not, I don't know.
No, but I know what you're saying. Time spent with him is like his love language. So having me to himself, like that is huge. And I used to like be like, oh, so-and-so's going to come with us. Now I know that it's like, no. Right. But so that it used to be a problem and it seems small. Everyone's like, who cares if they come to dinner with us? But it was a problem for him, problem for us, right?
Well, and that's the important thing is finding out what matters to the person that you're in a relationship with. Like, and any relationship to your friends or whatever, like it's really important to Jess that I see her, that when she has an issue that she needs me to speak to, that I'm there to support her and like listen to her.
Well, and you understand that it might not seem like a huge problem in your life. You're like, Jess, you know, you got this, but all problems are relative.
Right.
As business owners, I think that sometimes because our business is our whole world and we live inside this business, like a small thing, like to what seems like a small thing to other people, like you getting your jars is a huge deal to you.
Right.
And vice versa. Like when our friends talk about their jobs, right? Like they're like, oh, my computer died or something. And we're like, okay, it's not that big of a deal.
Congrats.
Or like one of my employees quit or whatever. And we're like, okay, not a big deal. Just hire someone else. But to them, in their world, it's a huge problem.
Right.
So we just have to keep in mind that like everyone's problems are relative, not even just in relationships, but I think as business owners, sometimes I just feel like we run around with our hair on fire all the time.
Oh, I can be very insensitive to other people who don't own their own businesses.
But that's not right.
It's not okay. Like, and even to my mom, there has been times because my mom's been my mom has been a homemaker her entire life.
God bless her.
Honestly, I look at her, and when I was younger, I'd be like, how could she not get a job? How could she not do this? And now I look at her, I'm like, Jesus, Joseph and Mary, I could never do what she is a queen.
I have so much respect for people who stay home and are raising our youth. I mean, I hope to maybe not stay home, but I hope to have kids one day. And so.
Yeah, same.
Okay. And then my last tip, really quick, communicate.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're letting someone down, communicate with them. Be honest. If this person loves you and you say, look, I've been so maxed out. This is my busy season. I really miss you. I want to see you, but can we plan time in January or whatever? That's what I've had to say to my friends. My friends are so understanding of me and my schedule. I mean, we kind of work an opposite of a 9 to 5 because we work nights and weekends. And so they understand, but I'm like, let's make a plan. I care about you. I love you. And I want to spend quality time with you. Communicate. People will work around. They'll understand. They'll empathize with you. I
love this so much. Communication is something that I think, in addition to like being vulnerable and listen, I've always had emotions. They're not like, I don't not have them. They're in there. I just keep them buried. Mm-hmm. And so I think that, and we talked about this on the way in, communication is the number one thing I do now. And I think that, and I love, thank you so much, by the way, to our listeners. By the way, we had 50 downloads.
What?
So excited. So excited about that. But we also had some listeners like slide in and they were like, Britt, you're not too much. And I'm like, yeah. Like, thank you so much for saying that. But I didn't know it for a long time. And I think in the last 6 months, that's the biggest thing that I have figured out about myself is like, whatever I am, if it's too much or not too much, whatever people want to be in my life can be in my life. I'm just going to keep showing up as exactly who I am and keep telling people what I need from them and what I want from them. If they can't give it to me, then I move to another thing. Like, I'm just going to pivot.
But also, like, you can be there for them too.
Well, and exactly. That's the other thing, is really challenging yourself, because I think about just going back to the thing with Jess is like, you know, she's a business owner too, and she runs like a huge thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that like for her, having to listen to my bullshit all day long, and it's probably the same. It's a give and take, and it's the same cycle of things. But she showed up time and time and time again. Okay, that's a person I'm going to continue to show up for time and time and time again. We've put in this, and this can go back to John. This can go back to my parents.
You're in it together.
It's a 50-50 partnership.
Like, yep. And you can be transparent.
Yep.
And there's no judgment.
Yep.
So
communication.
Communication. So we need to talk about Britt on Blast.
Yeah. Okay, I love Britt on Blast, and I thought this was going to be the part of our podcast that I really struggled with, because I was like, I don't like pop culture, but in hindsight, I do. I'm finding out that I do love it.
I don't know if we have to call it pop culture, but I guess that kind of is just like
it is the greatest thing ever. So
we get so much inspiration,
so much
for our businesses, yeah.
And for me, like, again, music fuels me, like, my days, everything.
Same.
The Adele album.
Speaking of relationships.
I mean, that album fully encompassed every piece of a relationship. Like, she obviously was going through a divorce when she started writing that. The one with her son.
Oh my gosh, his little voice. I feel like she was being so transparent. She said things like, Mommy has big feelings. And I was like,
I just got full body chills.
Yeah. I mean, her album, it sounds a little different than previous ones.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. It's very transparent, and you just like feel her raw emotion, and who can't relate to that?
I mean, I went through all those stages minus the children.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like she's hitting on what listeners want. Like, Taylor Swift does it the best ever.
100%.
Writes lyrics that are very relatable, and Adele's doing that. I mean, Easy on Me has been on repeat for me. I love that song so much, and I'm getting into her other ones.
I mean, I think that song is a little bit more relatable for me now these days. But yeah, I mean, it's seriously, that album is just incredible. I'm so excited.
Speaking of another album that just came out.
Gabby Barrett, it was released this morning, and I don't know, did you get a chance to listen to it yet?
I haven't.
Okay. They're obviously like, I hope she cheats.
Yeah. That one.
So I've been cheated on twice, both the Hyena and technically the puppy cheated on me. Yeah. So I'm like, whew, that's a good one for me. I like that.
Yeah. The songwriting is amazing in that song.
Yeah. And I don't hope she cheats. Like I honestly well wishes because I'm not trying to put any negative energy out in the world. But
at the same time, like feel what I felt.
Yeah. Feel what I did. Like I hope somebody puts you in a position that makes you understand. And then, sorry, I'm just looking at my phone real quick because this album, I haven't listened to the whole thing yet from Gabby Barrett, but it's called Goldmine. Yeah. And so she has
There's one that's like called Footsteps on the Moon. Yeah.
Yeah. Footprints on the Moon.
That one. Okay.
So
chills.
Good.
Yeah. It's about like dreaming big and just doing you, and people are going to doubt you no matter what.
These albums are so vulnerable. And I know I keep bringing up vulnerability, but I think I'm so sick. I think with all of the social media that we have and like all of the things, I'm so sick of this fakeness or like, just be exactly who you are. And maybe it's because I did it for a while that now I'm like, I am who I am and it is what it is. And so, because the other one she sings that everybody loves so much is The Good Ones.
Yes.
One of the good ones.
Yes.
The Wolf thinks he loves that song. It was like, he's like, I don't love female country artists, but
so
that
clearly he identifies with that. Like, no, you should be telling him that it's about him. He shouldn't be telling you that it's about him.
I'm like, you need to settle down. No, I'm kidding. I think it's cute. And I think it's good that he's like trying to aspire to being
definitely.
a good person.
I don't even know the Wolf. Don't hate me. Okay. Wolf, if you're listening, don't hate me. I don't even know you. I'm excited to meet you though.
To be clear, he was the first one to listen to our podcast last week. And this whole experience has been very like anxiety inducing for me. So yeah.
Has he empowered you?
Yeah, he texted me this morning and
Good job.
I forgot about the podcast and he didn't.
Good.
So
Good call. I like to hear that.
There's also a song called Thank God on there. And it's basically about like, thank God for all the bad things that happened to me in my life because they all brought me to where I am now. Cool. So I'm really excited for you to listen to it because it's very inspirational and very vulnerable and uplifting. I cannot wait.
Awesome.
And she's just good.
She is amazing. Speaking of good voices, Gaga in the Gucci movie. She's so incredibly talented. Like, is it possible for someone to be good at all the things that she is good at?
I think as far as role models go, like, let's just look at her.
I know. I mean, vocally, now she's acting. Her creativity is
off the charts. And I think that like, I'm so excited. I haven't watched that movie yet. So
is it out?
I don't know if it's out.
I've just read the reviews.
Okay.
In the Los Angeles Times, they said Lady Gaga brings down the house of Gucci and Ridley Scott's lavish couture clash drama. And Variety said that Lady Gaga and Adam Driver rule in Ridley Scott's transfixing fashion tabloid, and they're comparing it to The Godfather.
Okay, I'm dying to see this movie. I literally can't wait. And Gucci is, so I have a fashion degree and my entire background was like obsessed with fashion. I grew up being obsessed with fashion.
I love that.
Gucci has been and will always be one of my favorites.
Oh, okay. So as designer, I feel like a lot of people are on the same page as you. And I feel like this movie's coming out at the perfect time for Gucci. In 2021, they revamped their entire brand in 2014. They got a new CEO, they got a new creative director, and they brought back the double G. I mean, how many Gucci belts do we? I'm guilty. I have one.
I don't love the G's, like, because I'm a true, like, I love the the artistic piece of fashion. And so for me, like, Gucci has always been like it's very much my aesthetic, right? Like we just talked about this before the show.
Yes,
like
you have an aesthetic.
I had a pair of black riding boots from them and they just had like Gucci up the back but like not in huge. So I'm excited for them. And I think that like they do the logo in a way that's like very classy. Them and Saint Laurent are my two favorites.
Really? I love Chanel. But anyways, so Gucci is obviously at the peak right now.
Yeah. And
now they're coming out with this movie with Lady Gaga. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. So we'll definitely be covering that for sure. Can we jump into the AMAs real quick before we peace out?
You love Cardi.
I love Cardi. I've literally been in a fight with somebody in a bar over Cardi B.
Wow.
I know. I have a candle, Certified Freak, light for WAP.
Yeah, I have that candle. That is one of my favorite ones.
It smells good and it's my bestseller. what I love most about Cardi is that she is exactly who she is. Like, and I think that's like inspirational. And maybe that's why I've been so attracted to her for so long. She is such a great entertainer, whether she means to be or not. And like the way that I genuinely enjoyed watching the AMAs, which I haven't in a long time, because she like came out, first off, she had like 6 outfit changes, all couture, all couture. In addition, she came out on a bag of Louis Vuitton luggage, like, and she had a man wheel her out, like on the freaking, what is the luggage? You know, the luggage carts at the airport, like a golden one with like Louis Vuitton, and she's sitting on it and she gets like wheeled out and she's like in couture. Awesome. So it just was very entertaining and I'm glad they brought it back to that. I would also like to say, did you watch the AMAs?
No, I haven't watched them. Okay. I looked at the outfits, obviously.
Of course. They brought Brandy. They brought JoJo.
I saw JoJo. She's looking good.
They brought New Kids on the Block.
Saw that.
Like, we literally, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if we're at that weird age where like we've become our parents.
Kind of.
But I'm like, Brandy, where have you been?
I know. Probably living her life. These are real humans.
I know, but it's just like crazy to me that like we're at that age now. Yeah. Where I'm like, are we?
There's been enough time for there to be a huge gap and have them come back as like this resurgent pop artist. Like that's sad for us. That means we're old.
Right. And I almost wonder because like Cardi B is obsessed with JoJo.
Oh.
And so I'm like, did she just like.
JoJo has like 3 songs.
JoJo has a whole new album and it's fire.
Okay. I need to listen to it.
Don't come for me on that
one. Okay. Okay. I'm just saying, why is Cardi B looking up to JoJo?
She has a song called The Man. Like, I need a man, basically. And, like, I'm not trying to fuck around with, like, young boys. And so that's a really good, but she has, like, a whole, she's, like, JoJo's, like, producing music.
Okay.
And apparently she's richer than Cardi B, so.
Wow, good for her.
Cardi B
Joke's on me. Joke's on me, okay?
Listen, Paris Hilton, Cardi B. Let us bring it all the way around. Okay, and then, you know, I want to touch on the Kardashians because I'm just, like, in awe of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're a force for sure.
I think that like, I'm just curious at this point, and I posted this and a lot of our listeners were like,
so much feedback.
We had people slide in on that one. They were like, we're upset. What's the thing? Like they were upset about MGK. They brought it all the way around. Like the Travis Barker, Pete Davidson, MGK. And I'm at a point right now where I'm like, are we doing this to be blatantly disrespectful to our exes?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like Pete is hard to wrap your mind around. I mean, Kim Kardashian and Pete. I can see Travis. You know what I mean? And Courtney, like I picture it now. Maybe we're just more used to it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Or the rock star is having like this revival. Did you see Machine Gun Kelly's speech?
I love
him. He was like, they say that the rock star is dead, but is it or something like that? So, I mean, they're alive and well.
I mean, I do appreciate that. Like, I do love a rock star, so I am excited about that personally. I just need Eminem to like come out with better music these days because I do love him so much, and I feel like we put him on the back burner. And then G-Eazy, like Halsey really outdid you.
Yeah.
And I love you so much. So if you could just like, I know you're listening to this, G-Eazy, so if you could just like sort your shit out and get it together and put out another Me, Myself, and I.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Kim's doing.
Yeah.
It's hard to comprehend. He must be funny as fuck.
I think, well, we all know that a funny guy can really,
make
any
up
guy
for
that makes you
almost
laugh.
Anything. Yeah, exactly.
Which, fatal flaw of women.
Seriously.
So, I mean, all right. Well, I don't know. We don't need to talk about the Kardashians ever again. I just feel like we're going through like a Skater Boy series and
right.
And
I'm with it.
I don't know.
So some crazy relationships there. Yeah. But to wrap up, relationships are really, really hard.
Yeah.
And they take a ton of work. And when you have a business or you have a really busy job, I mean, regardless of where you are in your life, relationships take work.
So much work.
There's a relationship in your life that you've done, you know, all this work and you really want to make it work, go to therapy.
Seriously.
I don't think that we should be afraid of that.
No.
I'm a huge proponent of therapy. So keep that in mind.
I agree with that. I've been going to therapy myself. And I also would say that like, if you are in a relationship, and that was when I realized my relationship with the Hyena was over, is like, we went to therapy and I realized that even therapy couldn't help us.
Yeah. So that's a good sign. Then you know to close the door.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. So as far as relationships go, be vulnerable, communicate, set time on your schedule, and put your phone down. Hi, hello, especially when you're trying to be with people. And on that, we're going to leave you Sorry, I just snapped. Christian doesn't like it when we touch things or when we snap. Love you long time. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much. We'll see you next week.
All right. Cheers, y'all.